Asian markets were generally up today with some exceptions. They took their cue from a good performance on US markets. The UK's about to turn fiscal policy decisions announced by the new finance minister Jeremy Hunt also helped to spur some confidence. The Japanese Nikkei share average. Hong Kong stocks were also in positive territory with the Hang Seng Index closing 1.82% in the black. Mainland China also traded in the green but finished up the session in the red, down 0.13%. Over in the United States, US stocks kicked off the trading week with a rally after Britain reversed course on an economic plan. The Bank of America was the latest financial company to post solid quarterly results, which lifted optimism about the corporate earnings season. The S&P 500 gained 2.66%. The Nasdaq Composite gained 3.44%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose by 1.91%. The JSE is mixed at this hour. The all-share index has added 0.4%. It's now hovering around 66,450. The industrial 25 index is 0.4% higher. Financials are flat. Markets in Europe are higher at this hour. Britain's FTSE 100 climbing 0.9%. The Paris CAC 40 in France has added 0.6%, and Germany's DAX is 1.1% firmer. Looking at the commodities, gold is trading at $1,653 and platinum at $915 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is at $91.51 a barrel. The rand is trading at 18 rand and 11 cents to the dollar, while to the pound is trading at around 20.46, to the euro 17.81. Makwe Masilela is a senior person. He's the Chief Investment Officer at Makwe Fund Managers. A very good afternoon, Makwe, for joining us. Are you sensing that the markets are beginning to adopt a more positive tone, or is it really just taking one day at a time, given the fact that the markets have been so volatile?
Afternoon to you. It might be a case of one day at a time. And given that we've seen that what we had yesterday, whether you want to call it a bear market rally or a relief rally or a dead cat's bounce, but you see today's gains are trying to build on what we've seen yesterday. And we know that has been driven mainly by the UK making that U-turn when it comes to fiscal policy. And anyway, it was expected. The pressure was just too much. And also the Prime Minister thereof had to apologize. And also, as you said in your intro, the good earning numbers that we've been seeing coming out of the US. But we are in a situation where we're moving away, from a low inflation, low interest rate environment to an environment where you have high inflation and high interest rates. So volatility will be expected going forward. And I think one just has to factor in that there is some growing risk or increasing risk that central bankers might make a policy error the way they are so aggressive, and not forgetting the geopolitical tensions as we see the tension between Russia and Ukraine escalating daily.
Yes, indeed. So following the news that majority union at Transnet, UNTU, decided to sign an agreement with Transnet, of course, the TAWU still on strike. Following that, did mining shares at all jump up? Because, of course, we know the mining sector has been badly affected.
Not necessarily, and all because we know that the Transnet, they've got almost 55,000 or so employees, and then the other union, which is the biggest union, is representing just under 25,000. You cannot downplay the numbers represented by SATAU. We are talking plus minus 18,000, and now up until we get everybody on board, then probably maybe we'll see some kind of reaction. But so far, the mining shares prices, they've just been muted because we know that this is also a bigger player, even though it's the second largest union when it comes to Transnet.
Pick and Pay, they came out with their results today, their half-year results. The 6 months ended August 2022, reporting headline earnings per share up 25% or so. Shareholders also getting an increased dividend. What's your take on this particular stock, and how does it fare relative to its peers?
They took forever to start changing their strategy, but now it's paying off. Look at Pick and Pay clothing. They managed to increase market share, and also the sales growth is impressive. Look at Boxer. Boxer, I mean, they've got a record sales that we've been seeing. And we are saying in this country, we've got more than 50% of the people spending more than 50% of their money on food. So those kind of shops, the Boxers, the usage of this will continue to attract a good footfall. So it's not surprising to see even them increasing our dividends by almost 25.3% and profits as earnings per share up a whopping 59.5%. The question is, will they be able to sustain this going forward? But I guess so far the guys are catching up nicely.
Yes, of course, they're in a competitive environment. How would you rank them relative to others?
So far, I think one can still think that they are not yet at that level of the likes of your ShopRite, but yes, they are doing better compared to the likes of Spar, and it's very difficult to rank them with Woolies because Woolies, it's got more clothing than food. But if you check at ShopRite, Spar, and Pick n Pay, I think for me the top would be ShopRite, and then followed by Pick n Pay, and then followed by Spar when it comes to the market share.
Excellent. And then very quickly, Makwe, Murray and Roberts, their share price plummeted yesterday by a third, more than a third. It's recovered a little bit today. What's your thought about that particular stock? Does it have a future?
I think one has to apply this unscientific rule that wait for 3 days to see exactly what's going to be happening. But yes, do they have a future? I think so, because all that happened is because of delays of payments by the customers. It's got nothing to do with the management going forward. And we've seen that since they've left the construction sector, the guys have managed to build a very decent order book overseas. It's all because now they're saying these delays are persisting. So that itself, that is why maybe that's discouraging most market players. But I think, do they have a future? Strongly believe there is.
I love that unscientific suggestion that you hold for 3 days. Thanks very much, Makwe Masilela. He's the Chief Investment Officer at Makwe Fund Managers.